Worth watching the back row, Marcus, as the cars are about to set going. He's got Tom Kristensen in the Ford Fairlane Thunderbolt and Marino Franchitti, I believe, in the Ford Galaxy, number 14. So look for them coming through after problems in qualifying.
Yes, there's going to be not a lot of space to get through. Yes, Ian Dalglish's car towards the back with Marino Franchitti in it. And Dario's going to be here with us this weekend. Green flag lap then to get them all off on their last reconnaissance lap. This is going to be the problem, getting everyone away nice and neatly in the middle, where you've got the Mini Cooper S's, you've got the BMWs, the Jaguars, the Mercedes, and for Tom Kristensen in the white Ford Fairlane Thunderbolt with the gold stripes over the top and the red roof, the car that Henry Mann will drive tomorrow, that is going to be a little bit of a problem. We've got Sam Tordoff in the very unusual Fiat Abarth 1500. He's in the middle of the pack as well. That car up towards the back of the pack. There's the grid then. 15 Gordon Shedden on pole in the Lotus Cortina. 33 Frank Stippler, the German, alongside in the Alfa Romeo. 77 Andy Jordan completes that front row. Row 2 is 16 Matt Jackson, Lotus Cortina, and 8 Andy Prio, BMW Teaser. Row 3, 11 Mike Conway, Ford Anglia. 100 Jackie Oliver, BMW Teaser, and 92 Jochen Maas with the Ford Galaxy 500. This race presented by Cazenove Capital Management for the St Mary's Trophy. Moving on then down the order to row 4. We have Stuart Graham in the addition to your programme. Number 83, a Galaxy 500. 4 is Steve Soper, Lotus Cortina. 27 is Mark Blundell with the Lotus Cortina Mark 1. 17, Jason Plato, wonderful performer and a real personality in the Cooper S, number 17. 76, the Indian Karun Chandhok in a Cooper S. 13, David Richards, former Rally World Championship Rally co-driver and these days head of Pro Drive, Aston Martin Enterprise, etc. He's there, Lotus Cortina. And number 10, Aston Martin driver, works driver, Darren Turner, BMW Teaser. 46 is Emanuele Pirro, 5-time Le Mans winner with the Morris Mini Cooper S. Car 46. 124 is Andy Wallace, another Le Mans winner, Jaguar Mark II. 1 Rauno Altonen, one of the original Flying Finns in the Cooper S. 148 is Amanda Stretton, Peter James's BMW Teaser. 19 is Tiffany Dell in the Jaguar Mark II. 20 Christian Horner, Mini Cooper S. 7 Andrew Smith, Mini Cooper S. And 9 is Lucas Luhr in his BMW Teaser. Takes us back onto row 10. It's Prince Leopold of Bavaria, Leopold Prince von Bayern with number 5, Cooper S. 55, Sam Tordoff with the Fiat Abarth. 3 is Brian Redman with the Mercedes-Benz 300 SE Fintail. 18 is David Brabham with the very rare Isuzu Bellet. 12 is Tom Kristensen, the Great Dane, 9-time Le Mans winner in the Ford Fairlane Thunderbolt. And at the back, 14, the Canadian Ian Dalglish's car with Marino Franchitti in it, we're told, this afternoon. And at number 6, Tony Jardine after that angle box swap after the car broke yesterday. 2.4 miles then, this Goodwood Motor Circuit. Very challenging, very, very high speed. And you think, for the BTCC guys, you think of Thruxton, because in the old days, there wasn't much testing at Thruxton. There isn't now. It's to come down here and test and do the same times in pretty much any class, whether in a Formula Ford or a touring car or whatever, do the same times here on a very similar length circuit. Goodwood fractionally longer, fractionally quicker. So we look to our next race. It's race 5 in our programmes, the first of 2 parts of the St Mary's Trophy. And following tomorrow's race, the times of each car, driven by 2 different drivers, will be amalgamated and the results declared on that amalgamated basis. So we wait as the pathos builds up, the atmosphere grows, lots of expectant faces in the pits, packed capacity crowd craning towards the circuit, and we'll look forward to what should be a superb 25-minute race for the St Mary's Trophy. Bringing up the rear, the number 6 Anglia of Tony Jardine coming through. The calm before the storm. Marshall with green flag at the back of the grid. We wait for that to be waved. He marches into the road, waves it vigorously, and the Union flag goes up and is dropped, and away they go. And on the outside of the front row, great start from Andrew Jordan in the red Cortina. He leads, coming up into Madgwick for the first time. Already Tom Kristensen making his way up the field on the outside. 2 wheels on the grass in the Ford Fairlane Thunderbolt. There we go, there's number 10 BMW in the middle of that. That's Darren Turner in the bright blue car. Watch for that car coming through. It's all very exciting. Tom Kristensen kicks up the dirt on the outside. He barrels down the outside of a couple of Cooper S's. But out front, as they come down towards the side of my colleague Bruce Jones, Andy Jordan by a narrow advantage.
Well, Gordon Shedden looked up the inside at Ford Water, really thought he'd have a crack, but Andrew Jordan, what a start from the red and silver Cortina, decided he wasn't going to have it. But behind them, Stippler closing in. Andy Prio's gained a position. He's gone from 5th on the grid to 4th in that red BMW with the checker on it. Couldn't get much closer into 11th for the first time. Super start to the race, but Andrew Jordan holding sway at the moment.
Absolutely, 100 is Jackie Oliver there in the midst of it, but it's Cortina and Alfa Romeo, and this 5-speed Alfa Romeo. Remember, the Cortina's only with 4 going down the Lavant straight through the Lavant kink, and the Cortinas spread out. They block the road. Frank Stippler can't get past. He looks down the outside, and a new leader, and it's Gordon Shedden who comes around the outside. Stippler tries to go with him, gets on the grass. Oh, and that's been a big moment for Stippler. He runs very wide. He can't win the race the first time. Look, back into the lead comes Andy Jordan into the chicane for the first time. So 2 changes of lead in about 200 metres at the end of the lap. But at the end of the lap, it is Andy Jordan who leads the way, just from Gordon Shedden. Andy Prio had his nose ahead of the Alfa briefly, but Shedden, behind Shedden, it's now back to Stippler in the Alfa Romeo, recovering from that early moment. It won't take Frank too long to get back on terms with the Cortinas. I shouldn't think. Andy Prio in the red BMW with the white stripes. Then we've got the big Galaxy hurtling along, and that is Jochen Mass.
Jochen Mass definitely picking his way up the order, but if we go back to the lead battle, it's Gordon Shedden still soaring away, but clouting the curve on the inside, the apex of the corner before St Mary's. Andrew Jordan would have lost a bit of momentum, and the Lotus Cortinas just slide so much. And Jochen Mass picked up another place. I think he's just gone past Matt Jackson.
And so Tom Kristensen from the back of the grid in 29th place is up into 12th place in car number 12.
What a start. It's hard to know where to look. Up front, number 4, going fairly well. Steve Soper, great to have him back. This time, of course, as a historic racer after years away. But the battling all the way down the order. But there's the chain to the lead. Again, second lap running on the run down the Lavant straight. We have Gordon Shedden blasting past Andrew Jordan, but last time around, Andrew didn't really bother braking very much for Woodcote. Don't forget this red and silver Lotus Cortina. The family has built it up with Father Mike Jordan. It's cracking from the outset.
Yes, you can't afford to delay each other, because look, on the warpath is Frank Stippler.
So much faster when he stays off the grass. Of course, he had that grassy note at the end of lap 1. He's got a beautiful slipstream past the pits. Lotus Cortina, and a gorgeous Alfa Romeo today with the bonnet staying down.
Yes, for the moment. He looks up the inside, more in hope than anticipation, to this double apex right-hander at Madgwick corner. Take the second apex, one of the minis is out. That's Emanuele Pirro, sadly, in Des Smales' car, out of the race. Lead battle and continues with these 3. Stippler gluing the Alfa Romeo to the back of the red Cortina.
All hooking their wheels on the apex of Ford Water. They're trying to make the corner as wide as it possibly can. Andrew Jordan can't get past Gordon Shedden, so he thought, I know, I'll unsettle him. I'll flash my headlights in his rear quarters.
Jochen Mass is up to 4th place ahead of Andy Prio. Jochen Mass in the 7-litre Ford Galaxy.
Prio fighting back as they go through the second part of St Mary's, and the Galaxies are blocking a lot of the track down about 10th place, but Tom Kristensen, another place gain. He is in 10th, moved ahead of Jackie Oliver, and I'm sure more yet to come from the 9-time Le Mans winner. But this lead battle, absolutely fantastic, with Shedden at the front. Jordan, this is not his strongest part of the circuit, down the Lavant straight, and here we have Frank Stippler in the Alfa Romeo going into 2nd place.
Yep. Down the right-hand side, the track appears to narrow there. It's an optical illusion. It doesn't really narrow. And they come down into the braking area again, a double apex, take the second apex through, hopping the Alfa Romeo, left hooker there, through the right-handed bend. And it's Cortina, Alfa Romeo Cortina as they come through. Shedden, Stippler and Jordan
Jordan, of course, very new to the Lotus Cortina, the family new to it. Gordon Shedden shares number 15 with his teammate Matt Neal in one of the Silverstone Classic. That's very well sorted. And at first, Andrew Jordan was worried just how sideways the red Lotus Cortina would go, until Father Mike said that's how they're supposed to go. And he's definitely settled into driving it. Tom Kristensen, 3 more places gained in 12.
Yeah, 7th now. Up to 7th in that big white Ford Fairlane Thunderbolt, ahead of Steve Soper and Mike Conway.
Fastest lap of the race so far, Frank Stippler, not this last time, the previous time around, 1 minute 31.1 seconds. And Andrew Jordan getting more and more lurid in his pursuit of the 33 Alfa Romeo, but Alfa Romeo stays in 2nd place. Gordon Shedden seems to have things under control at the front. Andy Prio in their wake, fighting back, trying to get past the big Galaxy that passed him a lap ago. And there it is, Jochen Mass in 92, swinging, carrying more momentum out of the dip between St Mary's and Laventis. Andy Prio, the 3-time World Touring Car Champion, a man with BMW almost printed on him these days, races for them in the European Le Mans Series and, of course, in the British Touring Car Championship.
Here comes Stippler down the outside towards Woodcote Corner. Can he go round Gordon Shedden? It looks like he can. It's a phenomenal move, and he goes round the outside. He's going to run out of ground on the exit. Well, he's a little bit off the apex. He goes out, kicks up the dust. Look at that, a fabulous opposite lock correction from Frank Stippler. He's working furiously in the wheel through the chicane, out on the grass again. Absolutely brilliant. Frank Stippler leads the way, and of course Alex Furiani, who's driving the car with him, he'll drive it tomorrow, is a terrific driver of Alfa Romeos as well. All 3 of these cars have got great, well-balanced teams of all of them.
Well, you would have to say if it was Waddington's Formula 1, that would be tyre wear 1 and brake wear about 3 for Stippler taking that move in the Alfa Romeo. He's really, really pressed on. He's got the lead, but will he be able to last? It's a 25-minute race, and Gordon Shedden knows this Lotus Cortina number 15 very well. Let's have a look at the start again, Marcus.
Yeah, indeed. Very, very quickly out of the blocks was the red and silver car, Jordan, out of the outside of the front row, and fishtails across, manages to get across towards the apex to block the way for everyone else. We've got Galaxies all over the place in the middle of the pack, and already coming up the outside on the grass, Tom Kristensen. Absolutely brilliant. The blue BMW's Darren Turner, and the 19 Jaguar there was playing a prominent part as well. That's Stiff Needell. So in touching the grass, it's Stippler, and Stippler now has the Cortinas in the chase. Cortinas are lighter than the Alfa Romeo, but they don't have the 5th gear. They don't have all the alloy in them.
And the biggest move of all is Tom Kristensen. He's just going past Andy Prio as though he's standing still. Kristensen.
Fastest lap of the race is Stippler, 1:31.1, but Kristensen 1:31.5.
Yeah, and that's been in traffic as well. Don't forget, it's been limited traffic at the front end. Great dicing with the Lotus Cortinas, but the way in which Kristensen just blasted past the 8 BMW of Andy Prio was phenomenal. Now he's got a rather wider car to get past Jochen Mass in the 92 Galaxy ahead of him. In fact, next to that, it looks remarkably trim.
Well, those 2 guys have got 10 Le Mans victories between them, haven't they? And it's 9-1 in favour of Tom Kristensen. Kristensen is pushing hard up towards Madgwick Corner. Galaxy versus Thunderbolt, 2 of the Blue Oval's biggest, baddest American V8s. Out there fighting, and Kristensen out onto the grass again, coming out of Madgwick Corner. This is just magnificent racing.
But it's a wieldy tool. He corrected it so easily. Of course, that's experience.
Kristensen with fastest lap on his slate now, 1:31.062.
Well, that's just a 1/10 of a second off the fastest qualifying time, and he's doing it the hard way from the back of the grid. Only did 1 flying lap, well, 1 lap in practice, didn't complete the second. Now he's trying to make a move out of St Mary's. He's up the inside, but unfortunately that becomes the outside when they get to Lavant. And maybe Tom's going to swing across and dive down the inside. How can Jochen Mass negotiate Lavant, the first part of Lavant? He's going to slip slightly wide, and that indeed was the intention of Tom Kristensen, to duck up the inside. How much grip has the 92 Galaxy got ahead of it, and Andy Prio's right on
got
their
his
tails.
elastic bands out. He's going to lasso the back bumper of the of Kristensen's car, and the speed of that Thunderbolt down the straight. He looks down the inside of Jochen Mass. Jochen Mass is going to leave him some room. Are they going to door handle? No. All beautifully done. That fold in the side of the Fairlane Thunderbolt is by design. It's not something that's been crinkled against the side of a Galaxy. And Kristensen, absolutely superb. He had fastest lap last time round. He's leaving Jochen Mass to Andy Prio. Andy Prio not put off by the indicator going, the winker going on the white Galaxy of Jochen Mass.
the speed with which Tom Kristensen has dropped mass since he pulled past towards the end of the lap. By the time they were going past the pits, it was already about a second between them, 1.5 seconds to be honest. So Kristensen up into 4th place. His next target is Jordan, who's 8.5 seconds up the track. Don't forget Jordan's so quick at the start of the race in that Lotus Cortina. Jordan's about, half a second behind Gordon Shedden, who in turn is about, half a car length, as we can see behind the race-leading Alfa Romeo of Frank Stippler. Stippler's ahead, but will he stay there? Don't forget, he really was using his tyres and brakes very hard indeed at the start of the race.
Looking down to the minis, we've got Chandhok ahead of Plato by half a second, which is exciting stuff down that field in the thick of the pack. Here are the leaders, and it's still Frank Stippler, and Gordon Shedden isn't going to let him go in a hurry. Gordon Shedden in the Cortina, lights ablaze on the Alfa Romeo as it comes down to the corner. These two twin-cam powered cars.
Gosh, that's quite a thought.
Well matched.
That really is quite a thought. Chandhok and Plato, the two chassiest drivers in the whole of the paddock. They'll have plenty to talk about. A great little mini scrap, but at the moment, bragging rights belong to Frank Stippler in the Alfa Romeo, leading the race, but by probably about 3/10 of a second or so from Gordon Shedden. Andrew Jordan trying to hang on. He's a 7/10 back behind them, but Kristensen, I think, I'll see his lap time when he crosses the finish line. He's 4th. I think he's closing a new fastest lap of the race, 1:30.699. Kristensen's coming in the Thunderbolt.
Just fantastic. Mass and Prio battling along behind. Jackson, Soper, Conway, Jackie Oliver, only 10th in this company, and he's normally closer to the front than this. He's driving Richard Shaw's Laranca Engineering BMW, but that 30.699 is a terrific lap from Tom Kristensen.
Well, the lead battle's closed up again because Shedden's as close as he was last time to Stippler, but Jordan's coming back in as these lead two are slightly delaying each other in their race chase. Jordan's caught up again, just out of shot. You can see the Alfa Romeo 33 leading the race, the 15 Lotus Cortina with Gordon Shedden right in behind. Once we get to another longer angle, you see the red and silver Cortina. You can see it shadowed just in the back of the shot. There's Andrew Jordan right in the slipstream.
This is fantastic.
And catching all of them, Marcus. In the background is Tom Kristensen.
He is catching them. He's 7.9 seconds off the lead as he came round last time round, but he's gaining by, what, a second and a half-ish a lap. And the bonnet's come up on the second-place car. The second-place Cortina, the bonnet catch has gone on the outside, and that might cause problems as the race goes on for 15. Gordon Shedden with the Team Dynamics Cortina in second place. He's not troubling him yet, but just watch that development. Yesterday it was the Alfa Romeo whose bonnet came up. It's flapping just a little bit. The Alfa bonnet just flaps. That's by design. That's to get more air under the into the engine.
But we're only halfway through the race, Marcus. It's 25 minutes race, 12.5 minutes gone. 0.339 of a second between Stippler's Alfa Romeo and Gordon Shedden's Lotus Cortina, number 15. And a similar gap back to Andrew Jordan in 3rd place. Kristensen has gained, not so much that lap, 6.9 seconds down. He's catching. Clear track between them at the moment, but they will get into lapping.
Yes, the record is Kristensen's on 29.876 in a Galaxy back in 2013, 96.13 miles per hour.
Traffic ahead, the 19 Jaguar totally in the way there. Simon Drabble's car, driven by Tiffany Dell, manages to get out of the way, but that's compressed the lead trio even more than they were before. That's just a small blanket that would cover all three of them. Down through Lavant they go. A better exit from the first part of Lavant for Gordon Shedden. Can't quite get alongside the Alfa Romeo. Stippler's now going to hold the line as they go to the little kink onto Lavant Straight. There is less than a foot between the red Alfa Romeo and the white Lotus Cortina, and then one car length back to 3rd place, Andrew Jordan. This is fantastic. Tip-top level, tin-top racing. That's quite hard to say.
Yeah, Kristensen's got the problem of getting past that Nidell Jaguar. Round the outside, getting a wide entrance. That gets him close to cutting back, but it's not close enough into the chicane. Stippler leaps on the brakes, balances the car, floors the throttle. It's all about exit speed from the chicane. There's the Anglia, that's Tony Jardine's car, isn't it, up ahead? In the kind of Wilman kind style colours. Leaders going past Tony Jardine into Manjwick corner.
Well, Andrew
Jordan, drift for Jordan.
Just throwing it in, he doesn't seem to have as much grunt when they leave the chicane. He's very close as they go into the chicane, then he loses it, but he gets to the bits where you need to be really, really brave, and in the red and silver Cortina, just throws it in, right back now.
Kristensen faster again, 30.568. He's now within 5.3 seconds of the leader.
4.6 it's listed most recently, so it's coming down, coming down. Who's between them? There's one car between, in fact, as you say, Tony Jardine's Anglia, that will be out of the way, dispensed with by Kristensen after he leaves St Mary's. And in fact, there's a huge gap between first and second. It's probably a quarter of a second. And as you can see, the Alfa Romeo still in front. Stippler ahead of Shedden, and Jordan right on his tail. But there's the man who's coming. 9 Le Mans wins. Forget that right now. He's a racing driver who is going to try and win this race from the back of the grid. 10 minutes remaining, and Tom Kristensen slides the tail of the Fairlane Thunderbolt out, but balances it perfectly and gets the huge amount of power back down onto the circuit.
This is just brilliant. That battle in the minis, Chandhok in 76, 17 Plato, still locked together. And going past one of the BMWs going down into Woodcote corner. The leader's still wrestling at the wheel. A little bit of a break, I sense, from Stippler here. Coming out opposite lock is Andy Jordan in third place.
Yeah, Shedden's in the difficult position. He's trying to attack and increasingly trying to defend, because Jordan is really getting a hang of the red and silver Lotus Cortina. He's new to this style of racing, and he's really taken to it with aplomb. And how far back? Another new fastest lap for Tom Kristensen, 1 minute 30.5. He's 3.1 seconds behind Jordan now. He's catching, he's coming.
Yeah, only 4.3 off the lead.
Jochen Mass still managing to hold off Andy Prio. Prio tried to fight back several times, just doesn't have the grunt to go ahead of the German in the big Galaxy. They're fighting over 5th and 6th, and Mike Conway, normally racing sports prototypes, going very well. 10th place in Theo Pavitas' Anglia, number 11. Looks great.
Driving that car well above its weight, and he's batting so well in there, the ex-IndyCar racer, now in sports prototypes, as you say. And again, Sheds closes in, going round Lavant, down onto the straight here, the 15 Cortina, still chasing another BMW up ahead. In the back, looming larger and larger and larger, is the Great Dane, Tom Kristensen. We have 8.5 minutes to go with a Jaguar all over the grass coming out of the chicane. That was Andy Wallace. That was the 88 Le Mans winner. He's in trouble. He's grinding to a halt, pulling off the circuit. Lap 11 here, and Kristensen is not far from being with them. Just one car between Tom Kristensen and the top 3 now.
Yeah, this is the Amanda Stretton BMW teaser. That'll be passed on the start-finish straight. Great shot, reflection in the glasses, wonderful costumes, but really all eyes focus at the moment as they come upon the number 1 Mini with Rano Altonen on board. They will go past him very quickly as they get out of Madgwick. Yes, Jordan has dropped away very slightly from the back of this battle, but I think what's happened is we're getting Gordon Shedden closing in all over again on the race-leading Alfa Romeo, but they don't have to look very hard in their mirrors to see there's something approaching, and it's approaching fast. It's very large. It's quick.
3.2 seconds away from the leader is Tom Kristensen. He started 29th in this race, ladies and gentlemen. He's now got Altonen's turquoise Cooper S to go through. Brian Redman ahead of the leaders, hopping up over the curb, up onto 3 wheels, then 2 for the second place Cortina, and Gordon Shedden, absolutely superb, balancing the car.
It's a fabulous...
He's back on the throttle.
He is. It's that fabulous stretch of track where it goes into the dip out of St Mary's and then up the other side, and you've got to already have the car starting to turn in, considering a dab of the brakes. They get the first part of Lavant, and Gordon Shedden was magnificent that time, and that's why he's so close. They go through the kink on the Lavant straight, closer than he has been before. The bonnet's askew. Will the Lotus Cortina go back into the lead of the race? He's on the outside. That's the hard way to go. Who's better under brakes? Who's got brakes left? That's the question as they get down to Woodcote. And behind them, Andrew Jordan closing in, and he has to get a move on, otherwise third will become 4th.
Yep.
Because where is Kristensen?
There he
is in the back of that shot. The first 4 cars will now be covered, I reckon, by 2.5 seconds.
Alfa Romeo all disc brakes, Lotus Cortina discs on the front and drums on the rear, and charging along behind them is Tom Kristensen in that big Ford Fairlane Thunderbolt. He's virtually with them now, and Stippler with the Alfa, which is a little heavier than the Cortinas, but that's the only thing not going for it in this tussle. 2 of the top 3 with the lights ablaze, and here comes Tom Kristensen. He's timed his run beautifully, 12 laps down.
Well, it's just interesting, Marcus, looking at their respective speeds through the chicane. The Alfa Romeo, the 2 Lotus Cortinas with Shedden attacking, trying to take the outside line at the corner before St Mary's, doesn't make it work.
Frank Stippler,
very brave indeed. You talk about diminishing options and diminishing returns, perhaps, but Stippler knew that. He kept the car where he needed to go. But when you get the acceleration out of a tight corner, the Thunderbolt not so quick into any of these tighter corners, but he's very much quicker out of it. Now they're just going
Mass
round
has gone,
the back
hasn't
marker.
he? Mass has dropped, fallen away in the Galaxy's in the pits, I think.
Oh yes, Andy Priaulx comes round alone, and they've been almost tied together for a huge number of laps.
Top four together. Up into third comes Tom Kristensen. He's on the podium, in inverted commas, and he's monstering the two four-cylinder cars down into Woodcote Corner. This is absolutely sensational stuff. Remember, it's a two-part aggregate race, because the other drivers are in tomorrow, in many cases the owners, and we've got Stippler will be handing over to Alex Fioriani, Shedden to Matt Neal, Tom Kristensen to Henry Mann, and Andy Jordan to his dad, and it's up in a second.
Up to second, but you see, Andrew Jordan got to see the Thunderbolt approaching, but Gordon Shedden, the meet in that three-way battle at the front, I don't think really knew what was happening, and suddenly he's got a new car on his tail, not the red and silver Lotus Cortina, it's the Ford Fairlane Thunderbolt, and he's making such short work of it on the run to Ford Water. Boom! Into the lead goes Kristensen.
Absolutely sensational. And we've got up the inside, Sheds decided now's the time to pounce. He found a line there that was innovative, to say the least, and he got past Frank Stippler, and it's a forward 1-2 again.
Now this is the moment for Andrew Jordan to try and pass Paul.
That was
Stippler.
on the grass, wasn't it,
yeah,
for Kristensen? Up behind the Isuzu Bellet. That's going to compress the group going into Lavant Corner.
Big drift there from Shedden in second place, trying to do anything, and we have Stippler trying to fight back in the Alfa Romeo. Andrew Jordan trying to hang on, the Isuzu Bellet out of the way. Well done to David Brabham there, kept it off the racing line, and that allows this lead quartet. Isn't that fantastic? 3.5 minutes remaining. We're talking about a lead quartet covered by a second and a half, but it is going to go out.
Down the outside comes Stippler. He's locked a wheel, he's got it very sideways, he's out over the grass again. That's cost him dear. He's run wide onto the tarmac. He drops back into fourth place behind Andy Jordan. So it's a Ford 1, 2, 3. It's Tom Kristensen who leads the way. In second place it's Gordon Shedden, and in third place now it is Andy Jordan, with behind them the chastened Frank Stippler in the Alfa Romeo.
Yeah, that was lap one revisited at the end of the opening lap. The Alfa Romeo was on the grass. This time he went even further off. I'm just thinking, I think Henry Hope Frost is going to have the easiest winners interview to do all day. Just hand the microphone to Tom Kristensen.
Wow. And that's as they came in. We had Shedden with an inside front wheel lock. That was dramatic. There we go. Did very well not to understeer into the Alfa and nail him off into the bank.
Yes, all eyes on the Alfa. You could see it starting to go, but Shedden was doing his best to hang on, using the grass and more at the kink before St Mary's, going past one of the minis. Stippler is far from finished. He's trying to pick off the red Lotus Cortina with Andrew Jordan. There's battle, though. We had Kristensen hit the front. I thought he'd rocket away, but Gordon Shedden seems reinvigorated, tucking in behind. He started from pole position, the 15 Lotus Cortina. Those two do seem to be escaping now.
Just absolutely sensational. No one's actually purged the 130 barrier, despite Kristensen's early attempts. And up with two wheels on the grass, just touching the grass there. Stippler looking for a way back past Andy Jordan. Andy Jordan wants him to go down the outside. He's seen him go off there twice before. And it's all very dramatic stuff. They've got a Mini ahead of them. They squeeze through.
What I wonder, if we just had to change position ahead of them, or was that the Mini getting out of the way? Mini out of the way. I wonder how much we have left in the way of braking for the Thunderbolt. It's a much heavier car. Now, maybe this is why Shedden is able to close up. Has it all been used up in the charge from the back of the grid by Tom Kristensen? Talking of charges, here comes Frank Stippler. He's on the outside line at Madgwick.
Is that going to work? That's going to be very difficult to make work.
Oh, beautiful
side by side, no door handling. Absolutely brilliant, and the Alfa gets its headlight rims ahead, but that's about all. Down they come to Ford Water. Andy Jordan clings on the inside. He's got territorial advantage, if not his nose ahead.
Okay, both of them being very lively at the kink before St Mary's. They're going to have to this time. The red Cortina just ahead. Good grief, they stayed off the curbs that time. And the first two pulling clear, but this battle for third, absolutely enthralling. Andrew Jordan, new to a Lotus Cortina. Frank Stippler knows the Alfa Romeo rather better, but they're using every inch of track and more.
And there's going to be one more lap after this. It's a big battle for first and a big battle for third. Absolutely fantastic racing. The greatest, I think, we've seen in the history of the Revival meeting. And Stippler makes his move early down towards the kink. He comes up the inside and he manages to squeeze through. The Alfa Romeo is ahead, but he's not a full car's length ahead. And Andy Jordan has decided, well, 750 kilos of Cortina might just be able to break a little bit later than towards 1,000 of Alfa Romeo, but he comes through absolutely together, but a change. The Alfa is up into third. Leaders going on to their last lap. It's Kristensen from Shetland. The gap as they go through at the end of lap 16 is 1.2 seconds, the biggest it's been in this race. Stippler then back up into third place ahead of Jordan.
It feels really hard that one of this quartet of driver will not be on the podium. They all have driven absolutely superbly. Kristensen's drive from the back, running on the grass with half the car off the grid to bypass probably a dozen cars by the first corner, but the battling at the front end, the Alfa Romeo pitching it to the two Lotus Cortinas. They've got no answers to the Fairlane Thunderbolt. Fabulous drive by Kristensen. Yeah. They've entertained from the very start all the way to the final lap.
Look at Jackie Oliver go. He's up into sixth place now. He started steadily and kept the car all running nicely. He's up into sixth place now behind Andy Priaulx. The two BMWs in fifth and sixth places, 8 and 100.
They're 25 seconds back from Jordan. It's a country mile behind the first four. It matters not, though. Kristensen powering around the final lap. Don't forget, he doesn't know this car. He only got one lap in practice yesterday. Made a mockery of it all. What a great car. What a fabulous driver.
Pure class. He's gone past Darren Turner in the blue BMW. And Tom Kristensen on the final lap comes down into Woodcote corner, absolutely millimetre perfect onto the apex of the corner, hits the brakes, off the brakes, turns it in, gets it all straightened up, big opposite lock, up over the curbs, and then fishtails under acceleration, 29th on the grid to win this first part of the St Mary's Trophy. What a fabulous, fabulous race. He's opened the door, but he gets some air into the cockpit. Stippler is third. In fourth place is Jordan. Fifth is going to be number 8, which is Andy Priaulx, who was looking out of the window as one of the minis went flying off onto the grass. Talking of minis, Chantok and Plato are still locked together with Chantok just ahead. There is the 8 car of Andy Priaulx in 5th place. Next up is going to be, is it Oliver, or has Jackson got back up to him? It's Oliver, then Jackson, Matt Jackson. Then it is Steve Soper in 8th place. 9th is going to be Mike Conway's Super Drive in Theo Pafitas's Ford Anglia, and in 10th place Stuart Graham. There we go, look at that. A Jerry of Marshall's watching on from the side, greeting.
Oh, here's
the mini battle.
Chantok just ahead of Plato. There's going to be a lot of natter in the Drivers' Club afterwards. But honestly, the lengths people will go to get a winner's cigar. Tom Kristensen, that was phenomenal. Back to front, that victory.
Chantok and Plato, both of them with Swift Tune engines under the bonnet of those cars. And just superb. One of the Galaxies, that's the Dalglish Franchitti car I saw was off in the kitty litter somewhere. But Tom Kristensen, look at that. Oh, look at that. A nice sideways with the door open, waving to the marshals. That is brilliant. Waggling the tail of the Ford Fairlane Thunderbolt. Just a sensational drive. Really superb. And, well, it's all going to happen again tomorrow. And then the owners are going to be on board. Among them, top novelist Peter James, who's been watching in the commentary box during that first leg of the St Mary's Trophy. So good luck to him. It's BMW that Amanda Stretton was driving today. But in the meantime, wave your programmes, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Just reflect on what has been one of the greatest races in revival history. St Mary's Trophy presented by Cazenove Capital Management. First, for the back of the grid, number 12, Tom Kristensen, Ford Fairlane Thunderbolt. Second, number 15, Gordon Shedden, Lotus Cortina. Third, Frank Stippler in the 33 Alfa Romeo. Fourth, number 77, Andrew Jordan, Lotus Cortina. Fifth, number 8, Andy Priaulx, BMW 1800 Teaser. Sixth, the similar car, number 100 of Jackie Oliver. In 7th place, Matt Jackson in 16, Lotus Cortina. 8th, Lotus Cortina of Steve Soper, number 4. Some whistling and shouting, excitement down in the pits, and Tom Kristensen's laid rubber. In 9th place, number 11, Mike Conway, Ford Anglia 105E. 10th, Stuart Graham in the 83 Galaxy. 11th, Lotus Cortina, number 27 is Mark Blundell. In 12th place was Karun Chantok in the 76 Mini, and he was only, a couple of tenths clear of 17 Jason Plato in the sister Cooper S. The Dalglish Galaxy number 14 was 14th, I think, probably with Marino Franchitti aboard. Number 10, Darren Turner, was 15th in his BMW, a lap down. And in 16th place, number 20, was Christian Horner in his Cooper S. Well, what a sensational race that was. We've got warbirds in the sky. We've got the Thunderbolt on the floor, and wearing his Audi overalls, Tom Kristensen gets and he pats the Fairlane on the roof, and there's all the Alan Mann Racing guys around congratulating him. What a wonderful, wonderful drive, and what a great sportsman this guy is. Not only the world's most successful sports prototype racer, but just a guy who adores his motorsport, and you can see the unbridled joy in that one. Frank Stippler comes across to congratulate him. Just brilliant. And down with them at the awards presentation is going to be Henry Hope Frost.
Thank you, Marcus. Yes, Tom? Yes.
Can you hear me up there? Yes, that's good. A wonderful St Mary's Trophy first heat, and a burn from the stern for Tom Kristensen. TK, you gave yourself quite a lot to do after qualifying, but you came through. He's too busy lighting his cigar. Well done. Incredible.
Yeah, I mean...
Don't go all modest on me.
No, but I drove a Galaxy 2 years ago, so with that experience gained me, because yesterday I got, I don't know, I got 400 meter on a time lap. I didn't finish a time lap, so I hardly slept this night, because it's a big engine, it's a big tool, and the smallest mistake and you're off, which I was a couple of times, but not more than you just return on track with the car. And the mechanics have done an awesome job. I don't think they have slept as well, because yesterday, you know, I come and then I drive 400 meters and the car dies. So for sure, they have done an outstanding job, and it goes like a rocket, and that says for itself. I barely have any experience in the car, starting last and able to win. That tells a lot about the car.
If you'd started at the front, it would have been really boring.
No, then I might have stalled or some other things, but you never know. But I mean, at least you go into a day, and it's a great celebration here. And I just wanted to enjoy the day and try to get up. Only I spoke with Lucas Lua before the start, and I said him and David Brabham that I'll pass them before the line. But I'm pretty sure I did, because there was space on the outside, and that I think gained a lot of track position on the first lap.
One of the best things we've ever seen at the Revival. Thank you. Speechless. Cigar. Flash, come forward. Gordon Shedden, second place in the Dynamics Ford Cortina. You guys were so busy, you, Andy and Frank. Did you see him coming?
I didn't see him coming, but I felt him coming when he passed me. It was... yeah, the little Cortina, it kind of feels a little bit like bringing a water pistol to a gunfight when the Fairlane comes past you. It's the wrong artillery.
Now, did he slow down a bit after he passed you, or did you wake up? Because you stuck with him.
Yeah, he started sliding about a bit. You know, I gave it absolutely everything, obviously the aggregate race. So, you know, I just wanted to give it my all to the checkered flag. But on today, no chance to fight with Tom. But what a fantastic race! You know, lots of moves. Great fight with Frank as well for most of the race. So yeah, I'm sure everyone would have loved watching it.
You look like you've worked harder than you do in a BTCC race.
Yeah, a little bit. I feel like that as well. It hasn't been pointing in a straight line too often throughout the lap here at Goodwood, but you know, lots of fun. You know, driving every lap with a massive smile on my face, and yeah, it's awesome.
Well done, Flash. Matt's got to do it all again tomorrow.
Yeah, he's got to get his finger out, but no pressure. But I'm sure he'll be absolutely fine.
Well done, Gordon. Let me talk to Frank Stippler, third place in the little Alfa Romeo. That was like a GT3 race around the Nordschleife. It was just all over each other.
Yes, it was a lot of fun, and we had some nice tight battles until Tommy came with his big ship. Unfortunately, it could have been even tighter until the end, but I lost some meters when he overtook me, and the Cortina came by. So anyway, it was a very nice race, and I hope the public enjoyed it.
You ran a little bit wide at Woodcote in the latter stages of the race. Do you think you might have been able to get Gordon if you hadn't done that?
Maybe not. It's over now, and third place, okay. if you don't win, it's not so important if you finish second or third. Anyway, I hope that Alex can do a nice job tomorrow, and then we will see where we end up.
Great sport. Well done, Frank. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Roger Wills, can he get it over the curve, and he gets really wide. A wheel on the grass, kicks up some dirt.
Oh, is he slowing? Can he get that? Oh, he's ripped the front off the Dumas car.
Padmore holds on, but he goes wide and on the grass. Padmore gets out of shape, and up comes Nick Swift. He's won into the final corner.
Go up the inside. Oh my gosh, coming out of the pits. That is threading the eye of the needle.
Now, up Park Straight. Look at this. That's unbelievable from Oliver Solberg in the Citroen.